All right, so we just got off a dynamic show with Rod Khleif. You are in for a great show. And it's been 2 years since we spoke with Rod, but the message is still there. And the way he tackles the world and the way he pushes forward, not only for himself, but for others, just really transcends. And the message carries no matter what time, no matter what season, it always puts itself out there.
So Rod Kleif is a multiple business owner and philanthropist who is passionate about real estate, business, and above all, giving back. As one of the country's top business, real estate, and peak performance luminaries, Rod has owned over 2,000 homes and apartment buildings and has built over 24 businesses in his 40-year business career, several which have been worth tens of millions of dollars. So Rod really gets down deep into his story. So we're going to let him take it away.
Yeah, and so this isn't all roses here. He's going to talk how he lost $50 million and was able to come back and change his story and change his mind. And there's going to be powerful tactical advice today for you, no matter where you are, to take action and move yourself in the right direction starting now. Thanks so much for coming back to the show. It's been over 2 years
and excited.
So much happening, and we're just excited to have you back on today. How are you?
Love it. Love it. Thank you. It's so great to see your smiling faces and healthy, very healthy smiling faces. I was just saying before we were recording, you guys are an absolute inspiration to Tiffy and I with all your working outs and your push-ups and your running while you're recording running. I mean, that's above and beyond right there, Jason. But no, I absolutely love it. Thanks for having me on the show. Let's have some fun today.
Yeah, and you and Tiffany are an inspiration to us as well. So thank you both.
Thank you.
Rod, it's just been great to connect again. And of course, we're always following your progress, so much what you're doing out there and just what you've created within yourself and your community and just built back. And we're going to have a lot to cover today, right? So, but we really want to talk in this because last time we touched on the surface and, on mindset, we really started diving and getting into it. But where the universe was 2 years ago compared to where a lot of people are potentially being today, where there's a lot of things that are just outside of their control. They're letting themselves be affected by it. So you're a master at just creating your environment, right? Creating your state, creating your story.
Really shifting the environment is the skill set that I've acquired. And so let me just take a second and just give a couple highlights of my story because they lend themselves to this conversation with what we're going through right now. So I made and lost $50 million. Okay, in 2008, I lost $50 million in this crash. And so there's a lot of deja vu stuff going on for me right now with what's happening with COVID. And I'm going to tell you guys, and those of you listening, this is a time, if you're listening to Jason and Pili, you guys are leaders, okay? You're a leader if you're listening to this show or watching this show. And right now, more than ever, this world needs leaders. We need people that are not sucked into and immersed in and getting, certainty or comfort from watching the horrible news that's going on right there. And I know that sounded counterintuitive, what I just said, but people tend to gravitate towards things that are painful and negative. In fact, that's even how as human beings we connect. And right now, more than ever as a leader, you've got to push away that negativity, not get sucked into CNN, ABC, NBC, even Fox, but focus, because news is not there to inform us. It's there to startle and scare us. That's how they sell advertising. And so, you've got to stand guard at the door to your mind right now, because again, you're a leader. Your family's watching you, your peers are watching you, your contemporaries are watching you, and they need you to step up right now. And the only way for you to do that is for you to focus on what it is that you want and focus on the positive and stand guard at the door to your mind. Don't let the crap in, because there's enough good content out there that you can bring in. I make it a point on my podcast to do a clip every week about mindset. This week was about 100% commitment. And every week I do a clip, and enjoy that if you like, but even on YouTube, there's so much good stuff. Bring that in, because you've got to really be careful right now, because whatever you focused on is going to grow. be it positive or negative. Okay. So, where focus goes, your energy flows, and it's critical that you manage your focus right now. And it's so easy to get sucked into the pain and even this morning I was glancing at the headlines, and some man in New York walking his daughter got killed. Just horrific stuff out there. It's so easy to get sucked into that. And guys, I'm here to tell you, real pain is coming. Okay. And I'm not one of these guys that's a doom and gloom guy, but I'm going to tell you, we are headed for a crisis. There's just no question. You cannot have 45 million people on unemployment and not have it impact lots of businesses that are going to go under. And it's going to impact real estate as well. As you know, we're in the real estate business. And so, so even more than ever, if you think it's bad now, just wait till the stimulus runs out. Just wait till the election goes by and those stimulus payments go away. I did some research for I have a boardroom, I call it the multifamily boardroom mastermind. We've got, I think with the one guy we're about to get will be over 10 billion in assets in that group. And we meet 3 times a year. But I did some research, and this was astounding to me. 80% of the people that are on unemployment right now are making more money than they made when they were working.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that is, you can't do that and not expect it to impact inflation and the GDP and all these things that are getting hammered right now. And then I've been flying. I've had to do some flying to go some assets recently, and just to see the airports shut down, the restaurants at half capacity, and all these things that are happening. Again, unless trillions more go into the economy, we're headed for some pain. So that sounds really bad. But with crisis comes opportunity. And so, I've heard a couple of catchphrases that I really love. They're not mine, but let me pre-frame that. But I really love them. One of them is ethical opportunism. We got to keep our integrity as we move forward through this, but there are going to be incredible opportunities, or compassionate capitalism. Thinking about how we can not just capitalize on this, but also serve while we're doing it. And I'll tell you, in the multifamily space, there are incredible opportunities coming. And properties at cents on the dollar. I saw an article in, it was research done by CoStar, which owns LoopNet.com, and they've got extensive research capabilities, and they're plugged into just about all the large operators that own properties, in the country. And they said that 13,000 CMBS loans they see are going into default. Now, this was 6 to 8 weeks ago. It's probably more than that now, but we've also got, that doesn't even come into play. 13, you got to think about that, 13,000 commercial loans. Staggering how much money that could be. But then think about conforming loans, think about bank loans, and these things that, there were a lot of skinny deals done the last few years. We were in best and final on some offers, on a consistent basis that someone paid a lot more for, and we're scratching our heads like, what the hell are you thinking? Yep. And so, there's going to be opportunity, guys. And so that's the thing. That's what I'm talking about when I talk about focus. You've got to direct it right now and look for that silver lining. Like I was just telling this to somebody yesterday. When I lost $50 million in 2008, I thought I was set for life. I had 800 houses here in Florida. I had multiple apartment complexes, and I lost everything. And some people don't recover from that. But when I look back on it now, I realized I would not have met Tiffy if it hadn't happened. And I'll give it all up again for that. So truly, and that's how that's the spin I put on it in my head, so that I don't succumb to the wallowing and the self-pity and all this stuff that people do to get comfort. Okay. And
there's
again,
always that line right there where you can either find the silver lining, or you can find the worst thing that's happened, and you can choose.
Life is about meaning. It's never what happens to us. It's about the meaning we place on it. Two people can experience the exact same thing and place entirely different meanings on it. And I could give you examples if you like, but in fact, I'll give you an example Tony Robbins uses, where there was these 2 twins, and they had a father that was just a career criminal, and he was in jail. And they visited these 2 guys in their 30s, and one was in jail, and the other one was, I think, in the software business with a family and a upstanding citizen. And they asked both of them, "Why do you think you ended up like this?" And they both gave the exact same answer. With a father like ours, what else could I have done? completely different meanings, but same. I mean, it's just that's an example. You know, I will tell you, and of course, you know, I've been exposed a lot to Tony. I followed him around the planet for 20 years, so I saw a lot of these harrowing stories that he would show people about, you know, quadriplegics on stage and things like that, with the most incredible energy and light that they shined into the world because they chose to place a different meaning on what happened to them instead of wallowing in the pain. So guys, trust me, there are people. I know if you're listening, you may be suffering right now. You may know people that are suffering, or you could be suffering in the future. And right now, more than ever, you've got to manage your focus. And you know, I love to give this example. Mother Teresa, when she was alive, she was asked if she was anti-war. She said, "No, I'm pro-peace." And so that's an example of managing your focus. And right now, more than ever, the world needs that. So
it's the lack or not the lack, it's looking at that there's abundance everywhere. And if you want to focus on the scarcity side of it and say, I don't have money right now, or the world, I can find betterment in the world by seeing where the abundance I can fit in to give more to the abundance.
And also taking your example, by the way, Mother Teresa, it's with your words too.
Mm-hmm.
People don't understand that what you say counts. What comes out of your mouth counts. It's what's in your brain. So you have to manage your words, not war, but peace.
Right. Now, words are incredibly powerful. When I take people through a goal-setting workshop at my live events, or now I'm live streaming, I was supposed to have 700 or 800 people in Orlando in May. And of course, we know what happened with that. And so I had 900 people at a live stream event, and we actually, you know, did better there than we did at our live events. It's crazy. But the first thing we do is a goal setting workshop. And one of the parts of that is to write down why those goals are an absolute must. And I tell people, use emotionally charged words, because words are so freaking powerful. They have the ability to move us and propel us and you know, and so, or hurt us as well. So, you
What's an emotionally charged positive word?
Positive words. Yes.
What would be an example?
Amazing, beautiful, incredible, wonderful. You know, living the life of our dreams, and just using these words to motivate us positively. But again, also managing your self-talk, because it's very easy to go the other direction with the words you speak to yourself. In fact, I used to, you know, I immigrated this country when I was 6. I didn't speak English. My mom threw me into school. I discovered what bullies were. And, you know, and then my mom, bless her Dutch loving heart, sent me to school in wooden shoes for show and tell and these leather pants that the Germans wear for Oktoberfest. And of course, I got my butt kicked again. And then the bullies would chase me home, and she would chase them off with a fly swatter. So the next day I got my butt kicked again. And I came up with this question that I asked myself, which was how can I show them I'm good enough? And which presupposed obviously that I wasn't. And so guys, words are so freaking powerful. So Peely, thank you for saying that. But Jason, you triggered something before that I wanted to circle back to, because right now with what's coming, many people have to pivot or innovate. Even me. You know, if you go to my virtual bootcamp, by the way, can I put in a plug for the one that's coming up in a couple of weeks? Okay. Yes. So I'm going to do a 2-day bootcamp on multifamily investing, July 25th and 26th. It's if you use the code RODFRIEND, you can get in for $97, and I'm not selling anything. It's 2 full days of training. I'm not selling a damn thing. In fact, these are some of the resources you get from this thing. You can't even see them all. There's like hundreds of pages. The manual alone is 200 pages long. But the point is and I'll do that goal setting process on steroids that I was just talking about at that event. But I had to innovate, okay, to do this. So you know, we're looking at the May event. We already had like 500 tickets sold, and then the world collapsed. And so if you go to multifamilyvirtualbootcamp.com, you're gonna see me in the backyard. In fact, it's the picture behind me here, the green screen, recording the video, because we literally got the website up in like 2 days. We haven't even changed it. It came out really good, but it's multifamilyvirtualbootcamp.com. And use the code RODFRIEND, and you can go for $97. It's a duh. I mean, if you want to learn this business, it's 2 full days of training. I'm not selling anything, but I had to innovate. I had to pivot immediately to survive, because those events, were a big revenue generator for my thought leadership business. I mean, I'm still buying apartments. We bought 1,000 doors with our students last year, and we're on track to double that this year. In fact, we're going to close on 500 doors in the next 2 weeks, even in this crisis. But you listening, you may have to innovate. You may have to pivot. You may have to think outside the box, and you might even have to reinvent yourself. Don't be afraid of that. I will tell you, some of the largest companies in history were born in times like this, in winter, in this season that's coming. And so don't fear it, okay? And I will tell you, it'll be easy to succumb to the fear, particularly if you're sucked in with the media, because they're going to make it worse, much worse than it is. They're just masters at that. And so, again, focus is so important through this process, because if you're focused on opportunity and you're focused on the silver lining, you're going to be able to capitalize on what could be, it's possible this could be the greatest transfer of wealth that we ever see in our lifetimes. What's coming?
I'll give you an example that would actually play forward. There's a lot of brands who seem stuck in what they were and don't want to let go. And you have the stories of Blockbusters and others, but Harley Davidson has actually changed, where their new CEO is actually from Puma. And so the German company Puma, and are actually rebranding, trying to go away from just having that hard feeling, going more to electric, rebranding on their logo, things that have been iconic for years. Wow. And they're making this change because they're down 50% in their sales ratio. They're still number one in the world, but they're going the opposite direction. And they said something needs to change, because right now we're trying to fight that old model of being, the big bad motorcycle in the room, when the world is saying, no, we need to have a different outcome than just saying, hey, we're pumping a bunch of gas. But that just talks at a brand.
Yeah, no, that's an extreme example. That's an extreme example, because they're gonna have a lot of pushback from the the tattooed you got tattoos, but you know what I'm trying to say, that muscle bound going down the road, right?
Can you give our listeners some action steps to change their mindset? If they're feeling this like deep down depression and anxiety, how can they pull themselves out of this?
If you're feeling depressed or anxious, you are focused inwardly. Okay? You need to redirect your focus outwardly. Anytime, I've seen Tony take people that were suicidal literally dozens of times, and you can always tell that they make it very easy to go there for themselves. You need to scratch that record that gets you to that depressed place and focus outwardly. If you want love, what do? You give love. You want happiness? You give happiness. You don't look in the mirror and get sucked into your own and wallow, or really, and I hate to say this, this is you're gonna hate hearing this, you get comfort from going to that place. And very often you'll get support. Oh, I'm feeling so bad about myself. Come here, baby. Come here, sweetheart. Let me love on you. You get validation and support from expressing your pain. Don't do that, okay? Be very conscious of that. And the operative word is conscious. You've got to be conscious right now. You cannot be unconscious in a trance through this time of life. And so if you're that person that's feeling bad about yourself, really take a look at that and see where your focus is. If you're focusing inwardly, and I promise you, if you start focusing on helping other people, you start focusing on spreading love, deciding to smile at everybody you meet today, and playing a game to make every person you meet feel a little bit better, what do you think's going to happen? Damn well what's going to happen. You're going to feel better.
Yes, I'm going to pinpoint what you just said. Make it a challenge for yourself. Make it a challenge that you are going to make everyone you come in contact smile. And even if you just make them feel this, I'm on this mission. Jason's laughing because I'm on this mission to spread aloha. There's a quote that I just read recently that the world will be looking for a key. That key is in Hawaii, and that key is aloha. So I've been on this mission to spread aloha. Everyone I see, everyone I come in contact with, I just smile and I wave, even though they think I might be crazy. As long as I see them smile back at me, that my day is made. So just like you said, challenge yourself. Challenge yourself to make everyone's day brighter. That just made my day brighter, Rod.
Well, listen, you are a ray of light, and I will tell you that that is actually very great advice, especially if you're a competitive person that's listening to this. The challenge is a great way to self-motivate to do that. I used to play games with my kids where we'd go into a shop of some sort, or a restaurant or a coffee shop, ice cream shop, and if we saw a person that wasn't happy, obviously not happy, we'd play a game to see who could make them smile or laugh. And it was we did it for years. So that's an example of what I'm talking about here. Yeah. And so, but right now, again, the key here is to really be honest with yourself and anticipate a reduction in well, how do I want to phrase this, at a macro level in GDP. Anticipate a financial challenge coming, and I think it's going to be a big one. And again, I'm not a doom and gloom guy. I'm looking at it at the opportunity. But if you look at your life and you anticipate that, what could you do differently? If you're not doing multifamily, you're thinking real estate, for God's sakes, come see me. You'll trust me, you'll be glad you did. But regardless, maybe you start a business, maybe you become an entrepreneur, buy a franchise, learn a skill set. But here's the key, guys, and you know this, is you must play to your strengths. Do not think, okay, I don't like this, but I'm going to do it because I want the money. You will not succeed. You've got to play to your strengths. Now, the beautiful thing about our business, the multifamily real estate business, is that it's a team sport. I interviewed these kids. They're in their 20s a while back, about 2 months ago. I think I called it young rock stars or something, but there were 3 guys. They had over 70 million in assets between them, and they were all in their 20s. And what was fascinating is that each one of them was a team of an analytical person with an outgoing person. And I see that time and time again. I'm sure you guys have as well on my podcast. And so these are people playing to their strengths, which is why they're a success. If you try to maximize or shore up or build your weaknesses, you're just not going to get far. You want to play to your strengths because your strengths are your greatest assets. And so, that's what I'm going to tell you through this crisis. It's also really, really important for you to take action right now. Okay, do not get sucked into the pain and sit there. You must take action. Hang on one second. I want to grab something here. A little note here. You also have to clearly define what it is you want. So if you don't want to come spend a couple days with me at my 2-day boot camp, go to my Rod Khleif official page. And on January 1st of this year, I did about an hour and 20-minute goal setting workshop. In fact, I even have a goal setting guide you can download for free. And I'll walk you through this process that I'm going to do for the 2 days, and that I do at every one of my events, because how the hell are you ever going to get what you want if you don't know what it is? And right now, more than ever, you need that juice. You need to know exactly what you want, and you must know exactly why you want it, because that's what's going to keep you focused on the things you should be focused on. So you gotta have your goals written out, because that's going to create what Napoleon Hill calls burning desire. And that burning desire is what's going to get you through the pain that's coming. The other thing I want to tell you,
lack of clarity on knowing what you want and then taking action. Especially right now, you hear so many people say, I'm just going to wait for this to hit rock bottom. Like, you're ever going to know when that's going to come, and like, you're going to be able to get yourself into the game at that point. You're going to, 1, be able to get past your own fear, and 2, now be able to create a name for yourself in a time when really, for quote unquote, there's blood in the street, right? And so doing everything now to prepare in all seasons, that's just absolutely the best approach in any economy.
No, no question. And instead of fearing what's coming, have positive expectation. Okay, because how you decide something is going to look dictates how it shows up. Okay, like every morning I do a little exercise where I do gratitude for a few minutes. Grateful for my beautiful bride, my kids, my family, my coaching students, my foundation. And then I do gratitude for the things that I want with these vision boards back here. And there's my gratitude board for my kids and my Tiny Hands Foundation and stuff like that. I do gratitude. By the way, everything starts from a place of gratitude, okay? It's foundational. It's the most important emotion. So I do gratitude, but then I do gratitude for things that I want as if I already have them. And sometimes I get emotional over things I don't even have yet, doing gratitude for them, because it freaking works, number one. But then the point of this was, then I do a declaration. It's going to be an incredible day, which is the positive expectation piece. And it almost always is. And so, it's so important to have that positive expectation. If you're listening and you've got some of those limiting beliefs like I did. You know, how can I show them I'm good enough? Or maybe I'm too young, or I'm too old, or I'm not smart enough, or I'm not analytical enough. That was another one of mine, you know, or I don't have enough money. Those belief systems, there's a reason the acronym for belief systems is BS, because 90% of them are BS, okay? 99.9% of them are BS. But, you know, we have something happen in our childhood that our immature brain treats as factual, and it becomes these belief systems feel like they're real. And so if that is you listening, make sure you drag that when it comes out, drag it out into the daylight. Do not just let it pass by. Consciously think about it and look at it through your adult rational mind and recognize that it's BS, and it will diminish. And that's what I had to do. I mean, I wouldn't raise my hand in class. You know, I was so terrified of being embarrassed or humiliated, and true terror. And now I speak in front of thousands of people a year, you know, or did. but the point is that's how I did it. And it didn't happen overnight. I had to do it consistently. Every time it popped up, I'd like, that's BS. Anybody that would reject me just doesn't know who I am at my heart, at my soul, that I'm a lover. And if they reject me, it's their BS. And I had to take that on because it's the truth. Bottom line, it's the truth. And so that's the next thing. And then if you're one of these people that listens to these two beautiful souls and you haven't taken action yet, for God's sakes, it's time, okay? Take that first step. Like Dr. Martin Luther King said, take that first step in faith and the next step will be revealed. Or Lao Tzu said, the journey of 1,000 miles begins with one step. But you got to take action. You can't just sit here. Don't just let all this knowledge that comes from these guys and from me, don't just let it be entertainment, okay? Because you deserve that life. I've got this sign on my wall here that says, focus, grind now, play later. I got comfort kills. I am success. I'm a business genius. I'm the best of the world at what I do. Now, that's not ego. That's what I aspire to be. And by the way, you should get these signs, put them around you guys if you're listening, because especially these I am statements, because anything you put the words I am in front of is an identity statement. There's no greater force in the human psyche than the need to remain consistent with how we identify who we are. Okay. And so, but it's time. Take that step. This life is not a dress rehearsal. So how does that start?
Labeling and knowing, and identifying your words and just letting yourself know about your triggers, right? So if you're feeling angry, you label your anger. If you're feeling fearful, label your fear. Put it out there to say that I'm having this feeling, because you identify instead of letting that emotion take you over, because you can start playing games with it. Okay, fear, I see you. You know, okay, fine, I see you. Okay, what are we gonna do about it? And you start now pushing back and changing. And the way you said about your words, there's nothing more important, right? The way you talk, and you can say the same words like I am productive or I am productive. You know, if you just change that little tone in your voice.
Tonality, the intensity, the passion. I am courage. I am courage. I am courage. You know, and you say these things, and I've said that thousands of times. I've also, one of the things that I take my students through is an identity statement. Here's mine. I, Khleif, am a magnificent, amazing, passionate gift from God. I'm an incredible father, inspiring leader, loving billionaire, and amazing husband that puts smiles on the faces of children, inspires others to excellence, and rocks the world. I have incanted that thousands of times with total intensity because it works. It gets into the fiber of your being. So again, use these I am statements. Come join me for those 2 days and you will have an identity statement like the one I just did, because that's one of the things we do at my events. Because you need these things to keep you focused on what's important, to propel you, to push you, to kick you in the butt, to make this happen for yourselves. Because I will tell you, there's nothing worse than regret. Don't fear failure. For God's sakes, I've built 24 businesses, and I don't call them failures, I call them seminars when they fail. I built 24 of them. 3 have been tens of millions of dollars. Most of the rest have been spectacular, flaming seminars, okay? But we fail our way to success. I met Sarah Blakely at a mastermind. She's the billionaire owner of Spanx, the women's undergarments. Started with $5,000, now she's a gazillionaire. And she told me that her dad used to ask them at the dinner table, what have you failed at today?
Yes.
Yeah.
Is that just the most awesome freaking question to ask your kids, to not fear failure? Let me tell you something. Guys, we do not want regret. There was this nurse in Australia named Bronnie Ware, and she was a hospice nurse. And she asked these people at the end of their lives that she was taking care of a question. And the question was, do you have any regrets? And she even wrote a book about it. It's called The 5 Regrets of Dying. You want to know what the number one regret was? Not living the life I could have lived, living someone else's life. And guys, fear that regret. Don't fear failure, because it's not failure. It's not failure unless you don't get back up or you don't get the lesson. Listen, I lost $50 million. If you lose more than that in one of your seminars, then you call me and I'll help you make it right. Okay. So
I change that phrase sometimes. It's that same thing, right? At the end of your life, you don't want to look back and say, oh, no one ever looks back and say, hey, I should have done less, right? No one ever says that. No one ever says, I should have just not tried as much, right? It's always the opposite. You always sit there, and now there's every day you can change, but now is the best day.
And for Jason and I, every day when we talk to people, when we try and get our word out, we hit on action steps all the time. I mean, we can talk about I am statements, we can talk about mindset change, but unless you take action, that is the hugest thing that you could do for yourself right now. So if you are listening to Jason and I, and we are not inspiring you to take action with everything that we're telling you, please check out Rod. Rod is a mentor of mentors. You want $97 for a weekend with Rod? Come on,
thank
guys.
you. Thank you.
Come on, guys. Go to his website right now. We'll
you.
leave it in the show notes.
Thank
you guys
you.
need to take action right now.
Thank you. And by the way, guys, they don't get anything for saying that. Thank you for that very much.
We don't.
I can't split that pitiful $97. But the point is what she said is so dead on. And what's counterintuitive is if you're fearful, action mitigates fear. Okay. Whenever I'm fearful, I go do something towards it, or stressed, which is the achiever's word for fear. I go do something about it and I take action because it mitigates that fear. But so, if this is you have to make a decision. And the Latin root of the word decision means to cut off. It means burn the ships. If you're going to attack the island, your ships are going to get sunk because you're taking their damn ships home. Okay. And that's a decision. It's not 1 foot in, 1 foot out. It is 100%. It's done. That's it. It's done. So when you make that decision that you're going to change your life and you're like a train on a track, it's the difference between being interested and committed. You now have 100% commitment. Now, motivation will get you started, but commitment is what brings you home. And you're either all in, honestly. If you say you're 99.9% of the way there, you're not in. You're either all in or you're out, period. And people don't fail because of lack of knowledge or lack of skill sets. They fail because of a lack of commitment. And so, 100% is what's required. 100% commitment, 100% ownership, 100% responsibility for every aspect of your life.
So Rod, we love always everything you bring to us. It's such a powerful message, and so we're gonna bring this one home here as we're coming up on time. It's always so engaging to have you on the show, and for so many other listeners. Get back to us on the event again. Where can they go?
Oh yeah. So if you're interested in real estate, just come spend 2 days with me. It's $97 freaking dollars, and it's 2 full days of training, and again, tons of resources. I'm not selling anything. I'll have probably a couple billion represented by the panelists that I'll have answering all your questions. We're going to go from 11 a.m. Eastern till about 7 or 8 p.m. You can buy the recordings for a nominal upcharge, but the point is, come join me. It's not just the real estate. Yes, it's buying multifamily, every aspect of it, finding deals, raising equity, financing your deals, due diligence, property management, but then it's also the mindset piece. You actually take action with what you learn. And it's multifamilyvirtualbootcamp.com, or if you're listening to this in the car, text RODLIVE as one word, RODLIVE, to 41411. And then we'll just email you that link. It's multifamilyvirtualbootcamp.com, and use the code RODFRIEND, one word, RODFRIEND. It can be upper, lowercase, doesn't matter, for $50 off, which makes the ticket $97. And trust me, you'll be glad you did.
And Rod, we had
a lot of fun. So.
And always go back, listen to this. The power that you put in yourself and you put in your words, and the message that Rod really put out for you guys, it's there in all of us. We just have to make the decision. So Rod, super thank you,
brother. Everything you need is within you now, my friends. All right, thanks guys. Great to see your smiling faces.
Same here.
Thank you, Rod.
Thank you, everyone. Talk to you shortly.
Join us for your second cup of coffee every Monday through Friday at noon.
live every day, bringing us our best content we've done so far. Super excited, super engaging, bunch of great guests. We're here to answer your questions, and we so appreciate you listening. Make sure to check us out.
Can't wait to see you.